Welcome to Gulf Coast Financial with John Kuykendall, the CEO and founder of Gulf Coast Financial Services. This program is designed to assist you in bettering your retirement experience through expert and caring financial support. John has degrees from the University of Florida, Louisiana State University, and the Advanced Management Program at Harvard University. He spent 20 years in banking before establishing Gulf Coast Financial Services. John is a certified Kingdom advisor, serving clients with biblical principles and worldviews, and is an active member of the National Association of Christian Financial Consultants. John is also a member of many local charity boards. And now, John Kuykendall presents Gulf Coast Financial.
And welcome into the program. This is Gulf Coast Financial, brought to you by the best of the best in financial services. As voted by the Lake City Reporter, they are Gulf Coast Financial Services, and founder and CEO John Kuykendall always here with us as our voice of common sense and to provide guidance and perspective to area savers and investors taking your planning and your financial future seriously. John, welcome back in.
Thank you, Peter. It's great to be here. I hope you had a good week. I know I did. I hope all our listeners out there are enjoying a little bit warmer weather.
Yeah, it's nice. It seemed like it took a while this year, but here we are, and we can get out and about again. So very nice that we can actually enjoy it as well.
As long as we socially distance, we can go anywhere we want to now. So
yep.
Limited hours on some things, but everything's getting back to normal. And that's what I expected after this passed, that we would see some sorts of normalcy again, and that our economy would continue robust. And the stock market has been an indication of that, Peter.
Yeah, indeed. And John, as we were sort of getting into the very beginnings of the pandemic and saw the market crash the way it did, you spoke about a couple different types of potential recoveries: the V recovery, the U recovery, the W. We've pretty much to this point in time seen that V recovery.
We have. Everybody kept saying we were going to have the W. But if everything continues the way it is right now, we will have a very fast V because we weren't down that long. The market's back up and it's moving straight up, as we can see today. It's going to be volatile. There are going to be good days and bad days as we get news from overseas and news on oil and things like that. But the economy's strength, there was nothing wrong with the economy when we had the pandemic. And so we knew that. But the pandemic just pushed us down, and so we've got to recover from that.
Well, when the whole economy virtually has to shut down overnight, it's going to put some stress and pressures there on profits and on companies and on industry, and therefore on stock prices and the market, as we saw.
Well, it was the first time in history we'd ever seen that, and we really didn't have an idea how the market was going to react. And how the consumer was going to react. So far, everything's been going well. We're still under some control, but at least we're getting back up and people are start working. The problem, I think, now is the government's made the unemployment so attractive for a period of time that it's going to be hard to get people to leave unemployment to go back to work.
Yeah. Yep. But that's not going to last forever either.
No.
And so eventually we're going to have to realize that, hey, in order to make money, in order to live the way that we want, we do need to trade some of our time and some of our sweat equity for that and go back to work. And, I think a lot of people will do that eventually. John, before we get going on the content of the program today, which
Sure.
is all of the different aspects of a comprehensive financial plan and a comprehensive financial review. I know you wanted to touch on a number of different aspects, but I'm noticing behind you, as we have been doing this radio program and podcast now virtually with the video component on Zoom, and those are of course available as well, that you've got this nice video set up behind you, and I assume that is from the Coffee Talk segments that you have been filming there at Gulf Coast Financial Services.
Yeah, Peter, my son Brent, who's been with me now for over 20-something years, he's really into photography and has gotten really good at doing webinars and editing film. So what we started doing was doing Coffee Talk once a month. And he set up this little recording studio in the back. This is our training room, one of two that we have in our offices in Lake City. And so we've used this one, and we're going to use it for doing our recorded webinars and also for continuing to do our Coffee Talk. But We had planned, and actually last year in the fourth quarter, we had made a determination that we were going to move into webinars, that we felt like we could meet more people and accomplish our goal better than instead of doing seminars where people have to come to us, that we would have on-demand webinars. And we're in the process, now that I'm back from my back surgery, we're in the process of putting that together.
Well, I know people are more and more expecting things to be on demand on their own schedule at the click of a button these days. So I know with those seminars, you had to reserve the space. Well, you have one there in your office, so that was probably
Yeah.
nice and convenient, but you have to set the time. People have to show up at that certain particular time, maybe have to schedule that into an otherwise very busy schedule anyway. Now with the virtual webinars, do everything on their own time. Very
Yeah,
nice.
and
Convenient.
we'll put these on our webpage, our website, so that you can go to our website, www.gulfcoastfinancial.net, and then you'll be able to look at our different webinars that we've recorded.
And
So we're real excited about that.
be a bunch of them up there. I assume. I know
Yes.
you guys, as we're going to talk about into today's program, cover a variety of different subjects. Now on that website, which I have up behind me here, GulfCoastFinancial.net. I also wanted to point this out, that not only lots of great resources, including the coffee talk segments, including the podcast, but when you first visit the site, it pops up for a free guide. Don't panic when the market fluctuates. It can feel like it can feel like being on a never-ending roller coaster ride. Download our free ebook, Don't Panic, to learn why market volatility isn't as scary or uncommon as it seems. So you've got some resources there for a free ebook right on the website as well.
Yeah, there's a bunch of resources on the website. I'm really excited. That was something else we did last year at the end of the year. We changed our website, went more interactive, went with a lot more content. It's much easier to use, and we change that content constantly so that we're able to update it and keep it fresh. This is something that we thought a lot of people were panicking when the market was down, kind of dreams of 2008. And so we kind of wanted to have something there to reassure them and get them back, keep them in the market or get them back.
Sure. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like that free ebook, Don't Panic, just visit the website, GulfCoastFinancial.net, GulfCoastFinancial.net, and it's one of the first things that'll pop up. You just put in your email and it'll be delivered instantly to you. You get that free guide, that free ebook, Don't Panic. Just one of the great resources available on the website. John, cutting edge of technology here, sir.
Yeah, we were a little ahead of the curve and didn't realize it, but the curve caught up with us really quick. And my back surgery put us back a little bit. So we're coming out of the gate pretty fast right now. But yeah, this out of the blue, I don't know what it was. We just decided last year that we wanted to do more tech. And I think it was a smart move.
Well, I think it might also be part of that generational family feel that you do have there at Gulf Coast Financial. Your son, your grandson, all in the business, and so you've got the experience, John. You've been doing this for decades and understand the details of all the planning that must be done. But maybe some of that young blood brought you along with the tech side. I don't know if that was the case, but I could imagine it could be.
It pretty much was, although, I've always been kind of techie. I had an Apple computer back in the 80s, and I had a compact suitcase. So, the portable computer you lugged around in your trunk. So I've always tried to keep up, and
Nice.
we continue to do that.
Before it was trendy. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, I do want to remind you that the team from Gulf Coast Financial Services, they do offer the opportunity for a complimentary and comprehensive review of your plan. If you would like to address any questions that you have, if you feel like there are areas that may have been overlooked or red flags or holes left unaddressed in your plan, simply pick up the phone and give a call, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018, 366-755-9018, or you can request that time and that opportunity
Peter,
online as well. Yeah,
I think you did. Did you do? I think you did that wrong.
I said it twice, different ways. 386-755-9018. That's 386-755-9018.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
It sounded like 386, and it sounded like you got the 366 or something instead of the 755.
Oh,
but
okay.
that's okay.
Okay.
Just look
No,
at it when
yeah, I
you
will.
edit it. Just look at it.
I'll make sure.
All right,
All
sorry.
right. No problem. 386-755-9018. That's 386-755-9018. You can also request that time and opportunity by visiting that website, gulfcoastfinancial.net, gulfcoastfinancial.net. But John, there are many aspects that go into a comprehensive review. And I sort of liken this to working on a puzzle. You dump all the pieces out and you've gotten almost to the point of completion. And then you realize that there was a piece or two that was missing, or maybe trying to play a card game and you can never get that one card that you're waiting on, and then you count the cards and realize there's 51 in the deck or something like that. Right? There's missing pieces in people's plans, and oftentimes they don't realize it until it's almost too late.
Well, that's true, Peter. A lot of people, they don't have all the pieces to their plan. They haven't ever really looked at all of the components of a plan. And that's one thing we want to do here is when we talk about income planning, we're talking about looking at all aspects of your life. We want you, if you give us the information and the information is accurate, we will look to make sure that you have enough income coming in compared to your debt. We'll look at what you want in retirement, and then we will work back and tell you if you're pre-retirement, we're going to tell you how we get there. If you're post-retirement, we're going to keep you in that green area, as I call it, so that we have a plan that works for you. So income planning is what we always do, but income protection is very important to us. I've always said that the problem with our current generation and the future generations is we don't have enough predictable, sustainable income that we know that we can get every month without the market going up. If the market goes down, I'm still going to be able to meet my obligations. And that's something that we feel very part. So that's the first part. We want to look at the income protection, budgeting. One thing that's really big for me is debt consolidation, debt management. I don't like to see a lot of credit card debt. I don't like to see a lot of debt that's non-deductible. Home debt, certainly I encourage that. We all want a home. I don't have a problem with us paying a mortgage.
Yeah, most of us don't have $300,000 or $500,000 on hand just to plop down to buy that first house. Take mortgage into debt. It's sort of the natural progress of home ownership and financial progress.
Yeah, and my thinking is if I can get a mortgage at 3.5%, and I can make 7, 8, 9 in the market on a consistent basis over a period of time, why would I not want to leverage my money?
Sure.
That doesn't make sense. So we want to look at your debt, figure out what debt you have, and then help you get that debt paid off. Sometimes it's as simple as doing a home equity loan, paying off the consumer debt, and then helping you stay out of debt.
Yeah. But oftentimes, John, I mean, in our immediate satisfaction society that we are in, oftentimes even those making a pretty substantial income can find ways to spend nearly all of it, or sometimes even more. So really looking at the income compared to the outflow and the expenses, that's going to help us control that and make sure that we are making the financial progress that's necessary for us.
Right, that's true, and you're right. You're totally right, Peter. That you'd be amazed at the number of people that make a lot of money, but they spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And one of an old mentor of mine back in the banking days when I first got into banking, I got a new job and I was leaving him, and I told him, I said, Lou, I just got to go. I'm going to be making $10,000 more a year than I'm making here. It's with the same company, but a different bank. And that money, I'm going to save all that money. And he told me, he said, John, he said, let me tell you something. He says, your spending will rise to the level of your income.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's true, because when you got a bigger home, you got bigger carpet and drapes and all the other stuff that you have when you buy a house.
Yeah.
And so you have to be careful. So what we want to do is look at the budgeting, make sure that the expenses are right, make sure that we're paying the kind of interest that we need to pay, do a complete comparison of that. And then we want to look at your investments. We want to see how much lazy money you have, money that's not working for you, money that's sitting in the bank right now at very low interest rates. I mean, probably, I haven't checked yet. Are they still paying interest at the bank?
Very little. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very little.
I mean, with home loans at 3.25%, they can't afford to pay much.
Yeah. Because they still have to
so,
make a profit off of that.
Well, sure.
That's
They've
the
got,
goal.
they've got branches, overhead, employees, insurance, all the stuff that everybody else has. So they can't afford to give it to you free. It's not free money to them.
Yep.
So they can't afford to pay a lot of money. So we want to make sure that we don't have a lot of lazy money. We want to see how the money's invested. We want to see that everything's working together, that we don't have a consolidation. You don't want to be like the people who had all their 401k in Enron, and then when Enron went broke, they had to go back to work.
WorldCom, Tyco, just to name a few. There are several examples there. Yeah. You want to diversify. You want to rebalance. You do need some oversight and monitoring on those investment accounts.
Sure.
That's where we're going to really make the bulk of our financial progress is we earn money. That's the income, the first part. We spend money. That's the budgeting, the second part. But once we spend it, it's gone, John. Where we're going to make the bulk of our financial progress is in this third part of your comprehensive review and planning process, is the investments.
That's right. That's right. That's where we're going to make it up. And we like to have 3 buckets. We like to have a cash bucket where we know we have some money that we can get to immediately, but it shouldn't be a lot of money, maybe 6 months of living expenses. Then we want to have that, what I call the safe income bucket, something that's going to guarantee us, or at least will give us some kind of predictable income. And then our third bucket's our growth bucket, where we're going to be a little bit more aggressive. We're going to make a little bit more stock market investments, things like that, so that we can grow that bucket faster, and it'll be the thing that keeps us going, keeps us up with inflation. So those are the components that we like to look at. We also want to look at your Social Security. We want to make sure that we can maximize your Social Security if you're agreeable.
Sure.
And we want to tell you what the consequences are going to be if you take it early, what the consequences are going to be if you take it before full retirement age, and what the consequences will be if you don't wait till age 70.
Well, I would hope everyone would be agreeable to the want and the desire to get as much out of Social Security as possible. But it's an individual decision, and individual circumstances are going to determine that. And John, you've talked on this program before about how the difference between a good decision or a poor decision on the timing and the method by which we claim and collect Social Security can mean a swing in several hundreds of thousands of dollars or more over an individual's lifetime.
Yeah, and you got to remember there's a window coming up in 2032, which isn't all that far away now. It keeps getting closer and closer.
Yep.
Where we're only going to be able to pay out 75% of the benefits if something doesn't happen. And with all this money that we're spending on the pandemic, all the stuff that we're creating, we're not going to have the taxes, I'm afraid, to go back in and give us that 25% in Social Security. So somewhere down the road, we may have a hit. You take a 25% hit now by taking it early, and then a 25% later, you're getting 50 cents on the dollar. Is that really what you want?
No.
Or is there a way that we can use some of your investments now and hold off on the Social Security and then kick that in and cut the investments off? So there are a lot of different ways we can look at that. One of the big things is taxes.
Right.
I mean, you'd be surprised at how many people overlook taxes. Taxes are the biggest component in the future we're going to have. All this money that we've been setting aside, and me too, myself, we set aside in these deferred accounts. Now that money's going to come home to roost one day, and we're going to have to take it out under the RMDs at 72. But when I pass away, Brent's got 10 years to take that IRA and spend it and pay all the taxes on it. So we're creating huge tax liabilities for future generations that they're going to have to pay on the money they thought they were getting free.
John, during the course of the pandemic, with all of the volatility, the market got really the time and the attention and made the headlines, and it was in the spotlight. But where the opportunity to do some effective planning may be is with the taxes. I think right now we could look at this, John. I mean, it's not what you make; it's what you keep. Being efficient, being effective with our taxes is just as effective as shooting for higher returns in the market, but oftentimes with far less risk.
Well, I mean, would you rather, all the risk in the market's yours. So all your life you've been working, trying to grow it. You've grown it. Now all of a sudden, you've gotten gains. Your portfolio is fairly large. And then all of a sudden you realize that you may have to give, over 30, 35% of every dollar you take out away.
Mm-hmm.
How much or how good were those gains while you were making them? I mean, you could have been a lot more conservative and come out with the same thing if you'd been in a non-deferred account. With the SAFE Act, which was just passed with this pandemic thing, there are some opportunities to do some Roth conversions. The fact that we're not going to have to do the RMDs until 72, we're not going to have to do them this year. That's another opportunity to take that money, go ahead, pull it out, pay the taxes now, and put that money in a Roth IRA. So there are some things that we can do, some other things, some planning things that we can do on a higher level that might help us in the future. But Peter, I've got to believe that taxes are lower today than they'll ever be in anybody's lifetime.
Yeah. Well, I know with your sister companies there, you've got GulfCoast Financial Services and GulfCoast Tax Advantage, that this is a very important aspect in the planning process, that you all in particular have specially trained eyes and ability to really spot and hone in on this tax planning, being proactive with the tax planning, this aspect of the comprehensive plan. And of course, John, every time you sit down with one of your clients or a saver or investor, a potential client, somebody who's thinking about their financial future, you are looking at this in detail and in depth.
Oh yeah, we ask our clients not to make a large purchase without talking to us, because one, we want to know how we're going to obtain the money for it and what's the tax implications of doing that. And so certainly we want our clients to be proactive and not come in after the fact and say, John, I just created another $20,000 in tax liability. How do I get the money out? Because then I got to pull the money out of the IRA and pay more taxes. It doesn't work that way. So,
John, sorry, but
okay.
This isn't a conversation that should begin as you are pulling money out of your retirement accounts, though. I mean, we should be very proactive ahead of time when we earn and save our first dollars is when this should begin. It probably doesn't, but far too many people let that conversation go and don't pay attention to this for far too long and then dig themselves a tax hole.
Well, I think that taxes are something that we don't like. Unfortunately, we have to pay them because we have to run a government. We have to run, for our share. But people don't like taxes. They don't like to think about them. And so they just don't ever look at them. And they're giving away thousands of dollars that they wouldn't have to pay, maybe, if we sat down and did some planning. It's kind of like the guy who over defers all year long and gets back a tax check. The government sends him a refund and he's all excited because the government gave him a refund. It was his money to begin with, Peter.
All year
There
long.
is no free lunch. Let's realize that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you need to have a comprehensive plan which addresses all of these aspects. And along the way, very frequently and periodically, you should have a comprehensive review of your plan, looking at the income and income protection that you have in place, budgeting, debt management and consolidation, investment management, retirement accounts, family goals and planning, tax planning, legal protections, estate protections, and specifically, John, one area that you spend a lot of time and attention, and again, you started with this one, but it bears repeating, that retirement income planning. That's really where the process is all brought home into achieving the goals that we've always had and that we started working for.
Yeah, with that income plan, we take all of those components, including healthcare, Peter. Don't forget healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Healthcare is very important, especially as you get older. And we tie all of that together into one plan. It's a living, breathing document. And we want to look at it every year. We want to look at it if something changes. Life happens, and we know it's going to. Don't wait. Go ahead and let's get this going and get it reviewed, get it started. Don't wait till you get to retire and say, gee whiz, I need a plan.
Right. Yeah.
We'll help you with it, but it won't be as good as if we started early.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there is no benefit to procrastinating. There is no downside to place the call to get that review, ladies and gentlemen. There's no need to meet in person to get that process started.
No.
Again, just a phone call. You can get a few direct questions answered. The team from GulfCoast Financial Services, they are well-versed and tech-friendly and can do this over the phone or over the computer with virtual meetings, webinars. I'm sure that you may have thought of some financial topics that maybe we did not address on the program today, like rates of return or fees or fund selection. John, all of those things are important, but really those are kind of subcategories of many of the topics that we talked about. And if the conversation jumps right to those without first addressing the context and why they're important, we might be missing some critical facts and some key issues.
Yeah, I think we have to start with the income plan, start working on that, and then work back. And we can worry about the sub-accounts and the expenses and all that later after we get the plan built.
You'll talk about them. It's just that these are the bird's eye view, 30,000 foot view.
Yeah, these are the things we've got to look at, and we'll look at them.
And a lot of times, John, unfortunately, jumping right into those details, some of the holes in people's plans may be missed without talking about this topics that we discussed today.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, I think, Peter, that as I've said many times on the show, planning, financial planning, if you want to call it that, income planning, has changed over the last couple of years. It's better today than it's ever been. It's easier for us to do. We don't have to give you a 500-page report and charge you thousands of dollars. We can sit down and do this with a computer disk that will give you a flash drive that will have your plan on it, and it's only like 6 or 7 pages, and it's in color ink so you can understand it, charts, graphs. I mean, it's really neat what we've done, the industry, with financial planning. We brought it down where everybody can understand it.
Well, let's bring it back home. We started with that analogy of the puzzle. Let's get the outline built. Let's build the borders. Let's fill in all the details. Let's make sure we don't have any missing pieces in that puzzle, ladies and gentlemen. That's what that comprehensive review that is offered by GulfCoast Financial Services is specifically designed to help you achieve. Pick up the phone to get started. 386-755-9018, the number to call, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018. You can also go online, GulfCoastFinancial.net, and you can get your free e-guide there. In fact, there are several different reports and free e-books that are available on that website, GulfCoastFinancial.net. Full of great resources. Visit the website. Again, GulfCoast Financial Services, voted best of the best in financial services by the Lake City Reporter, Offices of Convenience in Gainesville. They take your financial future very seriously and will help you spot and identify issues or areas where you can be more efficient in leveraging your dollars. Pick up the phone to get started. 386-755-9018. That's 386-755-9018. John, I know there's always more information than there is time to cover it here on the program, but you'll get into the details in person with anybody who is serious about their planning and their financial future.
Oh, sure, Peter. We'd love to do that. Ask you to call. We'd be more than happy to work with you. And thank you for bringing this together and bringing it all together. And kind of, I know I talk about the individual pieces, but you kind of brought it all together.
Well, John, you always do a great job in digging into the details, giving us a very digestible overview of what we need to be focused on. You know, it's I know you can go into as much detail in person as the person that you're talking to has a comfort level for, but here on the program, you keep it understandable, at least for me. So thank you very much for bringing it home. Always reminding us that these factors, these issues, these topics, ladies and gentlemen, they are very important. They're important for your financial future. Don't procrastinate. Don't ignore them. They deserve your time and attention. Pick up the phone, give a call, 386-755-9018. John, we always appreciate your time.
Thank you, Peter.
The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature and not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. John Kuykendall is registered with and securities are offered through Kovac Securities Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Kovac Securities, found online at www.kovac. Advisory services are offered through GulfCoast Financial Services Inc., a registered investment advisor in Florida. GulfCoast Financial Services Inc. is not affiliated with Kovac Securities Inc. or Kovac Advisors Inc.